Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's your favorite paranormal investigator. My name's Tim Sedano. This is Paranormal Insight, and today on the show we have Debbi Dachinger. At least I hope that's how I'm pronouncing that correctly. And she's going to let me know because here she is. Welcome to the show, Debbi.
Hey, it's great to be here.
Is it Dachinger or Dachinger?
Well, it's interesting you say that. I mean, that's very intuitive. In this country, US, we say Dachinger. Debbi Dachinger has a great
Dachinger.
Ring, but it's actually an Austrian last name, so it is Dachinger.
Oh, fantastic. Okay.
Germanic countries, yes. So you got it.
Woo-hoo. Three
Go
cheers.
for the W.
For sure. So, Debbi, I didn't really tell my audience too much about you. Why don't you inform us about what you do, who you are, and how you came to be in this business?
Sure. What I do is podcasting. Started on radio. It'll be 19 years.
Oh, good for you.
So 19 years. So I'm an OG. I started on radio at a talk radio show called Dare to Dream. My show is still called Dare to Dream, but it parlayed over to podcasting. And the subject originally was spiritual, big dream creation, how to get through this, and very inspirational. And I started to notice something about myself. Oh, I'm really into channeling, and I'm really into certain subjects that are of interest to me. And then I had this huge awakening. So also, and I'll get to that story in a minute, but also what I do out in the world, I speak all over the world, and I speak about shamanism and extraterrestrials, because for me, they're very married. Had a lot of past lives as a shaman. In this lifetime, I'm a practicing shamanic healer, and I do things online. I do lots of full moon ceremonies and healing with animal spirit medicine and other things that are fun to me. And I bring in the shamanic lineage that comes through me when I do these healings, but I also bring in the galactics. I bring in the extraterrestrials who are benevolent and wanting to work with the groups and the individuals. And so I get a lot of help doing what I do. And to answer the second part of that question, how I got here is not by being mindful about wanting to be here. I just had something unexpected occur. And basically, I was really spiritual since I was very little. Like as a little kid, I would go to a bookstore that was big in my family. What book do you want for a holiday or something? And I would always be like, tarot, astrology. That's what it feels to me. Always around growth and learning about self and others. I found that fascinating. And then there were certain subjects I didn't want to talk about and I wasn't open to. Dead people was really off my radar. And I feel like now that's because I could sense things as a kid and it was too scary for me.
Oh, interesting.
And the other, interesting. So I was like protecting myself. And then the other thing, and I really, in my mind, I made fun of this. But when I look back on my actions, I see there were reference points around UFOs and extraterrestrials. I didn't believe in them. I thought it was bunk. I was a big eye roller. And yet I look back on my life and it's like, oh, isn't that interesting that I was reading Whitley Strieber books? And oh, isn't that interesting that I had this experience and that experience? So I look back and there actually was something happening, but I was so shut off to it. And then I had a big experience, a very unexpected experience. And in that experience, I was receiving divine information about who I was. And I was confused by the information. And so, Tim, I started to argue. And the divine was trying to explain some beautiful things about me, but I was saying, I'm not those things. And talk about arguing for your limitations.
Okay.
I just didn't conceive of it. But she was very adamant, so adamant that she kept coming back night after night after night. And then I was utterly confused. So I went on this deep journalistic journey to understand these adjectives she was using to describe me, what it had to do with me. And each step of that journey revealed something else that was amazing to me. And all I became was more curious
Yeah.
and more wanting to go down the path to find more and more. What does all this mean? And somewhere in there, I also experienced myself on this very deep learning journey and also certification journey. I found out that I too had aspects of myself that had been extraterrestrial. And I was so amazed at that. And it was so true to me when it occurred that all I wanted to do then was also learn about that.
Hmm.
What does that mean? Then what is all this stuff about UFOs and ETs? And just, I opened my soul, I opened my learning, I opened my curiosity. I had a lot of access to great people. And this began this amazing experience. And while I was on this amazing experience, not only of gaining information, but starting to get a lot of downloads, because now I'm open, I'm fully open.
Gotcha.
I then start getting invitations to be on stage in Mexico City at the World Ufology event and come to Gaia TV and be interviewed and come to this podcast. And I'm like, what's happening? I have not put myself out there.
Oh,
Why is this
interesting.
happening? And many years later, I asked somebody in a channeling session, a couple of people I've asked, like, this has been pretty remarkable. And they're like, oh, yeah, you are well taken care of. You can consider there is a whole galactic team that's aware of you, and they are facilitating this. And I've been so humbled by it. How would I say no to having a voice at these really important times around this really important subjects? So I've risen to the occasion and the opportunities they've given me and continue to give me. And yeah, that's pretty much it in a nutshell.
Okay. It's a heck of a nutshell.
It's a whole tree of nuts.
It's a whole tree of them, yeah, man. First off, thank you for sharing that. And secondly, I want to say hello to our chat people. We have Heidi and Jen in the chat right now. Heidi's our
Yay.
super fan. She loves all of us. She's everywhere.
We love
and
Heidi.
Then good old Heidi. I think she wrote to you outside the show. And then Jen from... I'm sorry, it's not Jen, it's Kat. Oh, Kat's going to kill me for that one. That's Kat Ward from Paranormal Heart and a fellow podcaster. So when you were telling us that story, you're informing us of your background. It's not a story, it's a background. I'm so sorry about that. You said she told you these things. Who's she? Is it a spirit? Is it God? Is it your guide?
It was source. It was definitely source.
Okay. I
God,
get you.
whatever word works for you.
Okay,
And it
no problem.
absolutely came in a divine feminine form.
Oh, fascinating. Okay. What connected to Debbi through Outer Realms? Oh, you're on Outer Realms too. Oh, fantastic. That's great. So you also mentioned certification in shamanism. Is that correct?
Yeah. So
Okay.
one of the things this God said to me was, you're a shaman, you're a healer, and you're a priestess, over and over again for 4 nights. And it was a lot. And she kept having me do different things around it. Thank God. Now I look back and I think, thank God she would not let up on me. And so one of the things I wanted to find out was, well, shamanism, like, that doesn't make sense. I know people who are shamans. They were chosen by spirit, by their lineage, by their community. Then they go through some pretty unprecedented initiations. And generally they're living in jungles and going into trances and shape-shifting and like, whoa, that's a big thing to call me. So I looked into that. And indeed, I saw that many lifetimes. I had been both male and female priestess, a shaman, all of that. And in one of the lifetimes, it was a galactic shamanic lifetime. And so I decided I wanted information. So what does this mean? these shamans. So I signed up it was during COVID, the very beginning of COVID. So it was really interesting. You could only do things online. So there's this amazing, very well-known shaman. I was able to work with him for 6 months. It was grueling and amazing all at the same time. It's like a 30 extra hours a week on top of my life. And I was so in it. I'm a good student anyway, but I was really in it to understand and to acquire the information. And as I was acquiring the information, because there was a lot of healing practices and a lot of trading with other students of doing the healing, I was changing massively. I was being healed. And then I left that. And the first thing I thought is, I really need to take some time off. Like that was a lot for 6 months. So what did I do? I enrolled in a whole nother program right away with another shaman around animal spirit medicine. I worked with him for a while. And interestingly enough, both the females that I've worked with in person and the male shamans thus far have all been from Peru. Completely different regions, but that's how it worked out. And then when I left that, I became involved with yet another very famous shaman. And I learned so much from each of them. And with that shaman, I did a year-long program. So now I'm not studying like I used to. I mean, that was quite a few years of studying, but I utilize everything I've learned out into the world, plus everything now that's just coming through me that I can use on individuals and groups.
Okay, that's fantastic. So when you chase certification, is this a means by which to basically confirm to the world that, yeah, she knows shamanism, she knows, these aspects of shamanism? Is that more for like I said, for recognition of the actual practice, or is that something you personally went for? Were you? Go ahead.
I'm laughing at your question because so I'm going to really pull back the curtain, and I don't talk about this. I don't even think about this, Tim, but it's
an exclusive,
question.
ladies and gentlemen.
It's an exclusive, baby. It is. I didn't go through it for any of that.
Okay.
I just was like, what does it mean to be a shaman? What can I learn here? It was a big commitment. And I just remember, forget about the money, forget about 30 extra hours, do you feel it here in the belly? That's your answer. That's the magic. Forget about the how it'll work out. And it did.
Excellent.
So here's the thing. I didn't think I was going to do a thing with it. Not a thing. Like maybe I'd work on my boyfriend if he wanted it. Maybe. I just wanted the information. But here's the crazy thing. Out of all the people in our program, and it was considerable amount of people around the world, I'm the one who is the most using it, the most visible with it, the most, like, it's all very surprising. It was not strategic at all.
Okay.
It was really, let me get the info. But by virtue of getting the info, I changed. And by virtue of that, I started getting the call to do things. Plus the inner knowing, offer this to the world, do it in front of audiences, do online programs, do in live programs. And people come and they're getting stuff out of it. And now I feel so honored, like, oh, thank God that happened, because I'm serving right now at a time when I think people need healing.
Excellent. Also, with regard to your studies, some of what you were saying reminded me of another guest I had on who talked about Reishi, energy healing, that type of thing. Reiki. Thank you. I spelled it correctly too, but I couldn't pronounce it correctly. So are you aware if there are similar methodologies between shamanistic healing and Reiki?
I am aware of Reiki healing. I've had Reiki done on me and I love it. I mean, there's so many beautiful modalities out there, or ways. Here's what it has in common. It's all energy healing.
Okay. That was my indirect question. Yeah. Mm-hmm. My more direct question. Okay. Energy healing. Fantastic. Real quick shout out to the chat one more time. We have Car joining us. Herbs joined us. That's fantastic. Welcome to the show, everyone. That's great stuff. Good to have you here. Kat had a specific question. Can she tell us more about animal? She said sport. I think she means spirit medicine.
I'm actually offering a program next week, March 11th, if you want to sign up.
Kat, there you go.
And
Actually, I'll
it's a
tell you what.
90-minute healing using animal spirit medicine. And my website is my name, DebbiDachinger.com, if you spell it right, or Dachinger.com.
Dachinger, yeah, I like that.
And I won't remember the URL for the animal spirit medicine, but you can get on my email list and you will receive the invitation. But I'm doing a 90-minute healing using animal spirit medicine. So animals are not from here. They're from other planets, other places in the galaxy. They do populate here. They come with unbelievable medicine and wisdom. And when we utilize the wisdom of the animals, it facilitates us. Many animals come into our life, or we can call on them at particular times in our life to work on certain things that we're going through, wanting to experience, wanting facilitation, or wanting new information where right now we're lacking. So they really help us bridge that gap. Then there's always that one animal. That's the animal totem. We each have one animal, and it will be with us our entire life. It never leaves our side. And that animal spirit guide that's with us our whole life, known or unknown, it is with us. Many people think, oh, my animal spirit must be name an animal. Must be that because I love that animal. Must be that because I think it's so cute. Must be that because it shows up somehow all the time. But it's actually not. I was very surprised, really surprised when my animal spirit totem showed himself very much masculine, showed himself to me. I was like, that animal? But the thing about an animal spirit totem for each of us is it actually shows us what we need. It gives us that piece that's a little wobbly in us and probably has been since we're little. So it shows up to give us that medicine through our whole life. And it's really there for you to guide, to protect, all of it.
How does one identify their animal totem?
Yeah, usually you go on a journey. There's two ways you can do it. You can go on a journey. I've done this many times with groups where they can discover their spirit animal. And the other way is do a soul retrieval. So I facilitate soul retrievals. And besides bringing back the piece of the person that got split off during trauma and reuniting them with that piece, also, we bring back the animal for them. And you don't always know what animal it's going to be. And so I was saying something about where you lack, where you're wanting. I'll give you a great example. There was a woman who came to me, and she's a high functioning person. She's actually a therapist out in the world, amazing person. And she had experienced, as a very attractive woman, she had experienced a lot of sexual inappropriate behavior when she was younger, repeated. And it's something she had done tremendous work on, and, ostensibly it was healed. But she realized there was this pervasive experience happening to her over and over again. And she said, I want to do a soul retrieval on this, because whatever this is, whatever got separated from me during that time, I want it back. I'm bringing back my power and my sovereignty. So I was fully on board. So we did a full soul retrieval for her. And then at the end, I always ask one's spirit animal to present itself. Now, when I do shamanic work, I'm a hollow bone, meaning I just get out of the way and the information comes through. And in this case, I was super surprised that a giraffe came through. I was
For
like,
her?
oh, that's, yes, very interesting. And so we brought back the giraffe, and I bring back the animal for the person and reconnect them so they're known to the person. And so we started to go through what giraffe medicine is. Now, some of this is very abundantly clear. And for her, it really was. And the most important points are, think about how tall a giraffe is, and think about how long a neck is. Now, if a person was on the ground looking around 360 degrees. They can only see so much. There'll be blockages with trees, with bushes, with
Sure.
other animals, with mountains. And they couldn't really see danger coming.
Okay.
But when you think about this giant giraffe that can see everywhere for miles and miles, and that is the medicine of the giraffe. It protects you and lets you know if anything's coming so that nothing can ever harm you again. Can you imagine what a beautiful gift for this woman? And so she started going out and buying giraffe calendars and socks and everything just to keep reminding herself,
Yeah.
I have this with me. And that's how it is when an animal presents itself. But usually you have to go into a deep journey for it to present. In my case, I was working with a woman, her name was Rosalba, and we would meet in the forest once a week for many, many, many months. And we were doing a deep shamanic journey. And actually, this journey was not about my spirit animal, but it was about other things. And she had me in a trance, and I was in a cave. There was a lot of things happening shamanically.
Mhm.
And all of a sudden, I felt this huge presence next to me. And I looked to my right, and there was just brown fur. And I just kept looking up and up and up and up. And there was a giant masculine brown bear
Oh,
standing on its two legs with its claws out, roaring over me. And
nice.
I was not scared at
That's-
all. And when
that's
it was done, it got down on all four and it started to walk everywhere I went that she was guiding me. It followed. Now, she doesn't know this is happening, the shaman. And when we were done with this experience, she asked me to exit the cave. And I turned to the brown bear and I said, wow, that was cool. Thank you. I'm going to leave now. And the bear said to me telepathically, I'm never leaving your side. And it came out with me. I still didn't know. But when we were done, Rosalba was asking me, like, what happened? All the things in the cave. And when we were done, I said, well, you got to know at the very end, this huge brown bear presented to me. And this is what happened. I told her the story and she said, wow, that wasn't even our intention, but you just met your spirit animal. And same for me, as you might have thought for this gal with the giraffe. I'm like, a brown bear, what? And then I started to work with the medicine and learn that many things that had happened to me in childhood, where I felt betrayed, lack of loyalty, someone not there to protect me, and so on and so forth. Boy, is the bear about that. You can imagine, right? A bear with a cub,
Sure.
right? So that's how it is with me. But plus, they're really fun. You know, they roll on their back and they love to eat honey and they're a little mischievous. And it's just, now I know how perfect it is for me. So each of you who are here today, and you, Tim, you all have a spirit animal.
Thank you for sharing that. That's fantastic. I appreciate that a lot. I hit the wrong button on my thing. Hold on. It's still not. Anyway, I drew a line through the question I was going to ask, so I have to do a little deciphering now. Okay, in some practices I've heard, it's my understanding that one is supposed to keep the spirit animal a secret. Is that just one discipline that does that, or was that rule kind of lifted? We're just curious about that.
I'll tell you my take on it. It's when I used to teach before I got all of this awakening and before I knew I started having UFO experiences and extraterrestrial experiences and all this stuff. When I taught how to create dreams, one of the things I taught is when you have a dream, there are several components and you must take action. And I would teach all this protocol, how to get from yourself to a dream created. But I felt strongly it was best to keep the energy to yourself and not talk about the dream, because then it becomes a wish, I feel.
Okay.
I feel that then a lot of people come up to you. Let's say you're like, I'm Tim and I'm going to write a book. I'm excited. I decide I'm going to write a book, and you start telling everyone.
Right.
And then a month later, 2 months later, people are like, Tim, how's the book coming? And you're like, I didn't get started yet.
Yeah.
It becomes a mess and pressure. And I think if we keep it to ourselves, something gets created. We're really on purpose. We take the steps, we take the action, eventually it's created. But I got to tell you, out in the world, there's a ton of people say, I tell people and I still create my dreams. Right on. So it's the same with the animal spirit. I obviously tell this and I talk about it on stages. And I do share about my animal, but I'm very clear it does not diminish at all its efficacy or its potency with me and over me. So I would say you have to do an energy read for yourself on that. Do I want to share this or does this feel very private? And just honor that.
Okay. I was just curious where you stood on. That's an excellent answer, by the way. Let's talk about UFOs and aliens and stuff like that. The when you're what was your first UFO experience
That I know of.
that you would know of? Yes.
That, yeah. Sorry, there's a lot of truth in that when I say that I know of. I just really felt that.
Gotcha.
The first one was right after I opened up to this information. I was very fortunate to have deep experiences in Arizona. And I think, yes, the very first one was out in Sacred Land in Arizona that we were permitted to be on. And we were doing contact work. And it was fun, but it seemed like nothing was happening. And I decided during one of the breaks that I wanted to take pictures because you couldn't see more than a few feet in front of you. It was so pitch dark in the desert.
Right.
So I was using my iPhone to take photos, and you know how you take the flash off and you just hold it down forever. It feels like letting as much light into the lens as possible to capture it.
Right.
I just thought it'd be cool to see what does this place actually look like that we're in. And I was shooting a bunch of photos. I do try to be artistic sometimes. And there was a beautiful tree, and I saw the stars through the branches. And I thought it would be incredible to take a picture of the stars through the branches. And I took the picture and then I looked at my phone. I'm like, my finger got in the way. Let's do that again. And it kept happening. And I took it over and over, and I was finally like, on to the next. I completely turned around 180 because it was a fence and I was taking a bunch of pictures out the other way. Well, when we got almost done with the break, I wanted to look back at the photos I just taken. And I realized immediately that was not my finger. That was a giant orb. I'm not talking about the angel orbs that we see. I am talking about it's a species. This was a species in an orb, somehow was interested in me. It was quite beautiful in the photo. And, you know, they say that the frequency is so high, we have to have a camera or an iPhone or whatever your phone is with a camera in order to see these things at their frequency. And it was just beautiful in the photo. It was a creamy beige white, and it had sort of purple and blue colors, prismatic colors through it. And it was giant, like it overtook all the branches of the tree. And then the photos that I took 180 out past the fence showed spacecraft. And I remember thinking, especially like for a novice who's just coming from the other side of this stuff isn't true, and all of a sudden I'm into the truth of it, that it would be presented to me this quickly. And I thought, oh, that is so lovely of you to trust me and want to show yourself to me. Thank you. Thank you. And then it just progressed from there. I mean, I've had many, 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 and including, you know, over the years, I've had many, some pretty remarkable. And even in the recent year, my partner and I do music, and I sing in 5 languages. And we're often brought out, you know, people, you'd know their names, transformational people, channeling of extraterrestrial people. They'll bring us out to open up for their events. And we do music, but they also like the music because extraterrestrials love music. we will play and we will see spacecraft and different spacecraft.
What have you
One
seen?
time, what's that?
What type of craft have you seen? I mean,
Yeah,
anything conventional we've seen on TV, movies, or even special shows or that talk about that type of thing?
I don't even know what they are on TV. So
Oh,
that's
okay.
how green I am. But what I
I
did,
mean, like the saucer, the triangle, the cigar, that type of thing.
right,
Anything in those realms.
definitely, like with Lisa Royal Holt, uh, that was a light show. That was
Okay.
extraordinary. Uh, I guess triangular because it was two orange lights here and here, like two here, one here. So that's three lights. Those were the spacecraft, and it was plural that revealed itself. They knew we were there for sure. They did a light show I've never seen before. Is quite beautiful with white lights. It almost would be if it was on this planet, that level of white light could have hurt our eyes. Oh, it did not. It was a show. And it was at a
Great.
place where Dr. Stephen Greer used to always go. And he used to say, oh, there's craft that live under the mountains here
Mm,
for sure. So they revealed themselves many nights to us, but they loved that music. They love the music. They love the gong. They love the intention we held. And I'm sure they loved our hearts. Other times, let's see, it just happened in New York. We went out there to perform for Marilyn Gavicki. If any of you know her, she channels the beautiful omnidimensional being Zazar. And we're
as
going to
well.
sing for her event again in a couple of months.
Nice.
And wow, these were more of the long gray, not, I wouldn't quite call it a city, but they were large. And
Like,
And what's amazing when she does it, that's very cool. They have a list of all the flights and the times they're going to be departing or arriving. They
mhm.
have a list of all the satellites so they can go, nope, that was a plane. Nope, that was a satellite. Or they say, wow, this is a UFO. So we had a lot of that experience too. And then I've had driving on freeways here in California many, many times. I mean, crazy stuff where I'll see stuff and my partner and the people in the truck or the car, and no one else in the freeway sees it. It's like, what? How are you not stopping? How are you not
Mm,
freaking out? This is so awesome.
gotcha.
Nobody sees it but us.
Interesting. Interesting. There are some who say that because you were open enough to see them the first time, you're pretty much always open to that specific
Mm.
frequency of their visits, which is fantastic. That's pretty cool. And you spoke earlier about the craft being organic, alive, is the way I
Oh,
took that. Would you say that these craft are then also self-aware? Are they standalone? Do they got people in them, like on as well, like a symbiotic relationship type of deal, or
they're all different.
okay,
They are, a lot of them have consciousness and awareness. And unlike our ships or planes that have to be guided by somebody manually,
hmm,
uh, because they can tap into the consciousness. It's a bio ship, if you will, a
okay,
living organism. So, yes, there are ships like that without a doubt. There are ships that, there are standalone ships. There are ships that definitely have people, a few, sometimes an entire world full of people. And then what I described to you in the beginning was an actual species. Whether that was a plural or an individual species, I am not sure.
okay,
Um, but for sure, it was a species. I had Wendy Kennedy, the woman who channels the nine Ps, the ninth dimensional Pleiadians, weigh in on that. And she said, indeed, they were very interested in you, this species. And I was like, so grateful, actually, because that was my first experience. And I
right.
thought, good on you for not reaching out and doing anything a little more, because it's better for my personality. Let's build this gradually so I have more and more trust and faith and
Right.
assurance in what's happening here.
Let me ask you a question. Something that's happened to me a couple of different
Mm.
times. And usually when I was more contemplative of the whole UFO alien question, that type of thing, at bizarre times in the morning, actually the exact same time every morning at 2:30 specifically, I'm fast asleep and my doorbell rings. I'm cautious to answer it. Usually when I do, no one's there. I check the security. No one's approached the house. So I don't know, and I've always said in my head to myself, like if they were listening, I said, you know what? I don't think I'm cool with being abducted. Ring the doorbell and let's get together. But I don't know. I don't know. And but it's interesting that nothing is there. I mean, did I miss a step? I'm just curious what your take is on that.
Yeah. Well, that's fascinating, isn't it? And
Mm-hmm.
I have to say, when I'm doing an energy read while you share that, I don't get extraterrestrial, but I get one of two things.
Okay.
There is an energy wanting to contact you, wanting to make itself known. It's doing it in a way that it feels is benign, not scary, but
Okay.
opening a door. But I have to say, Sasquatch is coming through.
Interesting. I've always wanted to meet one of those guys.
They're amazing. Amazing interdimensional beings, very hybridized with a lot of different other beings. They mean they're really not interested in interacting with us generally, but they have exceptions, and you might be one of them. They
Ooh,
do have
that'd be fun.
exceptions with some humans for particular reasons. Sometimes they'll leave gifts, and
Hmm.
they're quite powerful, benevolent, like, they're not here to interfere. But I was in the beginning when you were saying that, Tim, I was feeling like elemental, definitely other realm, aware
Mm.
of you, and hi, I'm here, knock knock. But then I also was getting Sasquatch. So
Nice.
what you can do then is take this to the next level and
Okay.
just ask, I'm aware of you, and I only allow benevolent energy to connect with me or come into my life. So anything else, off with you, go on to your next life, next realm. You're not permitted here. Or if you are a benevolent, positive energy, I am ready to connect with you. And so show me more, reveal yourself to me in a way I can understand, in a way I can receive it. And maybe you might think about doing it at 11 p.m. instead.
Give it a different time. Yeah. Yeah,
Not
2:30
while I'm
morning. Ding
sleeping.
dong. What the heck's that? Uh uh no. Oh, that's funny. Herb Hillbilly Herb had a similar experience. That's intriguing. That's very intriguing. And then we also have a question about the Sasquatch, which I will read. Uh, Cat asks, "Are some Sasquatch from here and others from another place? Oh, and are not from another place." I'm paraphrasing. That could explain why some have that whoop and others don't.
Oh, okay. I don't know what the woo means.
Whoop
Some
is the sound they make sometimes.
Oh, okay. Woo.
The whoop.
That's so interesting. I don't think they're from here, period.
Yeah.
Uh, they are interdimensional beings. So the best way to explain that is as though there's doorways all over the earth, and they're actually portals, and they energetically transmute themselves to another place and time. And whenever, if ever they want to come back, they come back. You guys probably know they love to be in forests or dense places, so they're not discovered. Um, but yeah, they're from many, many places. And my understanding is that over time, whatever they were originally, they have been changed so much by being bred with other forms that now they become what we see today, sort of this, giant walking sort of gorilla-ish, but not, but human, but not, but
Yeah.
this big amalgam. And they do have some origins with the Lyrans, with the lion beings too.
Oh, interesting. Now, is that like a galactic relationship, or are we talking about a hybrid status kind of thing?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah. So they started on their planet with the Lyrans. And of course, there were many other beings. There were the feline beings, there were avian beings, the bird people. All of them lived in great peace in the Lyran constellation, including the Sasquatch. So I don't think that they looked exactly like they look now. It's been all this wild breeding over time to create who they are now.
Interesting. I was wrong about the whoop. It was woo, like woo woo.
That's what I thought.
So my mistake. My apologies for that. But you kind of hit the nail on the head. Anyway, they were talking about the portals and infrasound usage and all that other fun stuff. So my apologies, Kat, for getting that wrong. They can throw at you quite something. Oh, that's interesting. Well, yeah. Sorry. Herb came back with another one that he feels they can throw emotions, fear your way, but that's kind of part of that infrasound thing, from what I understand. So I think, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about fear. I don't think that's accurate. That's not what they're about. The Sasquatch, may be very surprised by you seeing them. This is something that's going on, by the way, more and more in general on this planet. The more that people are ascending, the more that they are acquiring codes from the sun and otherwise, the more we are growing, the more we're understanding we're part of the cosmos. Our vibration is changing. And there's many beings, many, many, many beings on this planet living amongst us, living in inner earth. I'll use that word for want of a better word, but what I really mean is in the portals beneath the surface, also in the mountains like the Telos. They really don't want to be found. They're not really very interested in us, but there are many times where our frequency is such that it's a big surprise to them too, like, oh, that human is seeing me. But they're here for different purposes, but they're also like, this is their planet,
Okay. I was actually going to ask you about, for lack of a better term, sovereignty between the humans and these other races. Is there a I mean, whose planet is this? Like on the galactic scale, is it all of ours? Is it kind of like the public park, or do we say? Sorry, a little joke cropped up in the thing, or are we being just a little too collectively as humans, not all of us, but narrow-minded in that it's like, this is our planet, mine.
It's not.
Yeah.
And it wasn't ours to start with. We came after. So there were definitely reptilians here way before us. There were definitely ant beings before us. I would just like to be clear, it's not like an ant that suddenly is giant. It's literally a being from another planet that also exists here at times when it's not portaling in and out, but it looks very much like an ant because it's got the antennas, but it is bipedal, and they're very advanced civilization. So
did the Hopi draw
yes,
carvings about them? Okay.
Yes, they saved the Hopi during several cataclysms on Earth. And it is a true story. And it is still celebrated every year by the Hopi and their bean sprouting ceremony every February. Yeah. Also, if you look at the Kivas, the Kivas out in Arizona, near where the Four Corners are, Chaco Canyon and all of that, they have Kivas that the Hopi lived in. What does a Kiva mean? Ki, ant, va, hill. So it's an anthill. So
I love it.
Floods,
I love it.
Ice Age, and the fires destroy the entire earth and all the people. But the Hopi, who are so deeply connected with the land and to everything, the animism and all things, saw this incredible cloud. And they got the information, they transcend this reality. So they got the information. There's going to be total destruction on this earth. We're not going to make it. And then suddenly they see a cloud and the message is, follow me. I'm going to take you to salvation. That's my interpretation, not necessarily their words, but they follow this very unique cloud through the day. And when it becomes nighttime, suddenly a star appears and keeps guiding them. And it happens day after day after day. until they arrive someplace where there are mountains and caves. And these beings come out of that dimension, the ant beings, and they say telepathically, we're here to save you. We're here to save you and your people until this passes. And indeed, they brought them inside, rescued them, taught them food storage. I mean, the caverns where the ant beings alone live they could take in 3 million people.
Wow.
And when
That's
that was
impressive.
all, it's impressive what exists beneath our feet.
Yeah, for sure. I've heard stories. Gosh, was that a Gaia interview? It may have been. And the gentleman's name escapes me, but
Tim Tactical.
You know what I'm talking about? Okay.
Yeah, he's my friend.
Okay, right on. Well, he apparently had a really intense relationship with these people on a secret project of one sort or another. And he says, yeah, there was this thing where there was a cave in, and they lost some of their people, and we lost some of our people, and the sadness was just prevailing on a telepathic level. And he says, to this day, when I think about it, I get a tear in my eye. It's like, wow, that's an intense emotional grappling. I mean, not grappling, but interconnection. And I was just really impressed by that whole story.
Absolutely. And it still exists right now. So there's a gentleman from the military. For a long time, he was not able to, he had all these NDAs with the government, so he was not able to say his name. He wore a mask, the whole thing. Maybe a lot of people here know who I'm talking about.
Right.
JP is what he used to go by. But he's become a friend of mine too. And we now know his real name, which is Jorge Pabon. And he's phenomenal. He has had interactions with the ant beings. He, in Florida, has gone on many, many missions and experienced them. They sound to me so remarkable. I've let him know. I've let him know several times how much I want to go and meet them, because one thing extraterrestrials know, imagine when you're telepathic, it doesn't matter what I say. It matters who I really am, right? They know the truth. And so I just know they know my heart, and they'd invite me in. That's how I feel. And then I could spend time. I mean, they have the tree of life there with seeds from this tree that heal. They have life-giving fountains and water. They have flora and fauna. They have food that grows. Now this is pretty incredible. So clearly they don't have electricity, but they have lighting inside the caverns.
It was like bioluminescence, or
it is sacred geometry that creates the lighting.
Oh, that's interesting. I've heard of that. Yes. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
That's cool.
They've got all this amazing life, and very much like ants, there is the leader and the rest is the hive mind. But the difference is they're still very aware of being individuals and yet of contributing to the collective, something we as humans could probably do more of.
Mm-hmm.
So I love what they're about, because even the Hopis, when they were done and they were told, the cataclysm has passed, it is safe now to go back out to the earth and repopulate and regrow. The Hopis that chose to come back out onto Upper Terra did so. And this is why in the deserts of Arizona, very little rainfall, very harsh conditions, they're growing beans and corn, etc., because they were taught this by the ant beings. There was also a contingency of the Hopi and other beings across time who said, I love it here. I have no interest in going back to Upper Earth. I want to continue living with you. And they have.
Wow. Now, have they gone through a sort of evolution, being that underground that often, or are they still relatively human?
A huge evolution, because, and this is the same if you go to another planet, because the air, if there's air, is different. All the conditions are different. The weather is different. So your body starts to mutate and adapt.
Right.
So that we call it underground, but it's really not accurate, because it's just another dimension. but
I
there
see.
are different
Oh,
functionalities in this dimension.
I see.
And so, yes, their bodies have adapted, their beings, their brains, everything have changed.
That's intriguing. There was, I don't know if you remember that it's not around anymore. Omni magazine.
No, yeah,
Remember
that's
that from 1,000 years
science
ago?
magazine. Yes.
1,000 years ago, and they did either it was in conjunction with maybe NASA at the time. I'm not sure, but it was a human biologist who said, okay, if we went to, for example, Mars, and we were there for several hundred years, probably within, I think he said something like 4 generations, we'd see a major differential between a Martian human and an Earth human because the gravity is different, the air is different, all that fun stuff. And this is assuming a more appropriate atmosphere could be generated because there is one there. It's just super thin, but yeah, we almost start looking like the Greys to a degree. It was a fascinating read and depiction. I mean, they really walked you through all the steps. It was fascinating.
Which is interesting because the Greys have spent a lot of time on Mars. So that makes total sense to me when you say that.
Yeah.
And I understand the same thing. I've heard the same, that there's tremendous change that occurs to the complete physiology of
Yeah.
a being. The moment you change all the things we're used to here that our bodies were built for, but we are so resilient. It's amazing how we can adapt. And I agree with what you said. And it would take many, many generations to really see the culmination of that, like to have a new being in a way be birthed out of those conditions.
Right. There was let me go back real quick to Lower Terra and how these cave systems may be physically there, but we're also looking at the fact that now, since they're from an alternate dimension, is it basically less an alternate dimension and more of an alternate reality where they're a little more prevalent as the apex species and they're bringing us there? Because that's been a long held theory, not only of mine, but of several others, where either interdimensionally or even exoplanetarily. Wow, I made that word up, but I hope you know where I'm going with that. Different worlds and stuff like that. That while we here are, at least as far as we know, are the apex in the more standardized thinking, on another world like we had the Lyrans, the lions, the cat people were dominant there. On another world, it was the Sasquatch, the arboreals, who were dominant there. So for every so-called lesser species here, there's a dominant counterpart out in the universe or in another reality. Do you think that's what's happening with regard to Lower Terra and the ant people transitioning into this alternate space?
It's a really interesting thought. And I feel like I do know the answer, but I also want to preface it by saying I feel like we can't possibly conceive because they're so advanced that they can think about, imagine you and me right now. And if I thought, wow, it would be wonderful to just be with Tim in his studio, boom, and I'm there. That's how powerful we are. And then we're there together doing a live show. Imagine if you thought about that, about Orion or the Pleiades or Andromeda or, the many, many places and even constellations I know we haven't even heard of yet that we could portal in a breath, in a millisecond there.
That'd be fun. You're talking about
So
quantum
that's what
entanglement to a degree, yeah.
and over the years, inner Earth has been described as caverns. Jules Verne wrote
Right.
about it. Edmund Halley in 1749 talked about his conception, and I still think he was off, but I think he was brilliant. That in 1749, he wrote about the Earth has concentric circles like Russian dolls. Here's the one we live on. Then there's another one inside of it with a sun, and another one inside of it with a sun. He felt that there was 3 of them, and that's why, and they each had their own magnetic poles. And that's why sometimes our compasses on Upper Earth went crazy, or things happened. There were shifts with the poles. So brilliant, not entirely correct, but brilliant that he even was able to download that much. And in his best thinking of the time, that's how he was able to express it. But when you take that concept and understand, like there's 2 pieces, so I'll do this the best I can. So understand, we have the reality, if you will, that we all live on. And, I'm going to fly. It's true. I'm going to fly on the 17th to Greece and then to Turkey. And I'm speaking in those places. Then I'm going to come back. Then I'm going to Northern California to speak. So these are all areas on top of Earth. But imagine while I'm doing that so close to me and each of us, there are also beings who have been here since the beginning of time and have chosen that life, and that they can come and go as they need. They have everything they need in their space. So wait, I just want to finish that thought before I say the other piece. Is there anything else there? Yeah. And then some of those beings are, for instance, the Telos, who live in Mount Shasta and come from Lemuria, right? So there have been survivors of either every genocide or every catastrophe.
Okay.
And so for Lemuria, it was definitely a catastrophe, but they were not all wiped out. And much to your point, Tim, those beings went into the mountains to live there. And that's why when we go to sacred sites like Mount Shasta and many of the others around the world, there's this profound feeling we get. Like it's powerful. We can't even name it sometimes, or we're so drawn to go there.
Right.
But those beings, to your point, the Lemurians who became the Telos, they look nothing like they did when they're Lemurians, by virtue of the work they've done over the millennia. And because now they're basically beings of light and very tall and so forth. So that's one piece. The other piece is very important to remember is there were many beings here before, and they were definitely not hominids, humans. And so we were at some point something that doesn't at all resemble what we are today. And 450,000 years ago, the Anunnaki, and I know you know this, came. They were looking for gold. They went to Africa. They needed it for their planet and for their atmosphere. And they thought, oh, those little creatures, we need slaves to mine for the gold. Sure. We don't want to do that work. And so they modified our genes. We are part Anunnaki. They modified our genes. It's very important to know. And they were not supposed to do that because no matter what, Earth was a planet of free will. They took away our will and did something to us. Okay, so we mined for them. We got them a bunch of gold. And then the rest of the Anunnaki find out about this. And it's like, what the heck, fellas? You weren't supposed to do this. We're going to recall you. And at the same time, there are thousands. We literally I heard this woman on your show, Tim, Dr. Stone, talk about 24 prime galactic strains that are in us. That may be true, but I can say we have thousands of advanced civilizations in us. So it's really important to remember there is no separation. Those are our mothers, fathers, our great-great-great-grandfathers and grandmothers. Most of us have hybrid children out there, our cousins, all the stuff. And amongst the thousands of strains in us, and I can quote science around this that shows our genetics have been touched. There are 5 dominant genetics that each of us carries in different degrees. It is reptilian, which I think is so important because when people go, the government's reptilian, all the bad guys you are reptilian too, honey. So we are all reptilian. the bird people, the avian people, the feline, and also the high light level Lyrans. Those are the 5 dominant strains in all of us. So we remember we were not the first here. There were other extraterrestrials. Then we were formed into whatever glob we were functioning. Then the Anunnaki come and they change our genetics, and now we have these interesting genetics. Then to the rescue come these other advanced civilizations and donate their genetics to us to become who we have morphed into today. There is no us and them, and they were here first, actually. So we do share the planet. I know that was a long answer, but I'm trying to give the different holistic ideas of what this is. And we very much, whether we like it or say it's mine or not, we share this planet. They walk amongst us, they're inside, they're in earth, in mountains, and they have as much right as anybody.
I've seen them. So
Really? Do tell.
yeah. My audience knows this story, but I'll try and make it as short as I can. And I was a DJ in 2002, and I was at the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk. And at the far end of the boardwalk, there's a kind of like a community center. You can rent it out, and there was a reunion going on, and me and my DJing partner were there. We're loading up the heavy speakers and the cables and all that fun stuff. And I see these kids playing, and one of the kids looks a little off. There's 5, 6, 7-year-olds running around in a circle being crazy in there, but there's this one significantly taller child there. Looks about maybe 10. Got a page boy platinum blonde haircut. Wearing red and white striped shirt, red pants, and I'll never forget this because the theme was red and white, and exceptionally pale skin on top of that, and also has big, oversized, big sunglasses on, and those are red rimmed, but they are blackout. You cannot see what's behind those eyes, behind the lenses rather. And one of the other more significant physical features besides her height were her fingers. They were twice as long. Right? So she's running around, and the kids are playing tag, but she doesn't understand tag. It was obvious it was a new game to her. So they're running around in a circle, and she's significantly bigger, and so it's easy for her, but she doesn't know about no tag backs, so they keep getting her back. So she's doing this, and then it's time for the other kids to go home, and she's left alone. And I'm kind of loading this in, and the first thing that really caught my attention was the fingers. I nudged my buddy, and I said, "Dude, look at that girl over there. Look at her fingers." And he's so disinterested. He's into the gig. He wants to get this stuff loaded. And he takes a minute. Weird. Pass me the cables. He has no interest in what's happening. But I confirmed that the girl was there. It wasn't a pick of my imagination, which is kind of what I wanted to do. So at the same time, I'm just kind of watching things from the side. The other little kids disperse, and she's humming and hawing. It's something. She's waiting for something. And then she sees the new, at the time, VW bugs. Lime green, I might add. I'll never forget the color. And, the domey ones, the new ones, right? Newish. And she starts losing her little kid-minded. She's pointing with these super long fingers, I might add. She's pointing. And she keeps looking back, and she keeps looking back. And it's as if she's trying to say, "Hey, that's cool. Look at what I'm looking at," to somebody. I finally follow her line of sight, and there's a very much taller person there. She's kind of wrapped up in, I describe them as Jedi robes, because that's the only reference I really can come up with. But her face is obscured. It's kind of hooded, whatever. These wraps are all around her, but her fingers are certainly there because she does this. And next to her are 2 6-foot tall gentlemen. This woman was 6'9", 7 foot easy, right? and they're wearing black suits, but they have driving trench coats over, and one's beige and one's light blue. They're trying not to be Men in Black, but it's pretty obvious they are. They
I
can play
know.
earpieces and everything, sunglasses and the whole thing. Very typical. But and mother, and I say mother because she had a hint of a breast under the robes. Otherwise, it was completely androgynous. I couldn't tell. So mother she has her hands within her sleeves like this, and they come out and fold, and mother goes, "Stop, come here now." No words spoken at all, but that's the vibe, and and so and this is what gets me more than anything, and it makes me think more or less what we've been saying throughout this podcast so far, is that we're all so similar. There's more similar to us than there are different. Because she throws a little tantrum. She goes, "I don't want to," no words, mind you, but I mean, her body language said it all. "I don't want to go like that," and she begrudgingly stops over to her mom. We see the Men in Black guy do this. I'm hanging out because we loaded the van up already, and I want to see what's happening. So yeah, send it up, send it back down. I'll move the van. So I can see what's going on. And so she gets over to her mom, and Man in Black does this, and this limo driving, whoever's behind the wheels, driving like an absolute maniac, comes screaming around the corner out of nowhere, pulls up. There's this little inlet. There's kind of like a guest pickup drop-off thing, and that's where they were. But it was at a really sparsely populated side of the boardwalk. Anyway, so this thing pulls up, doors open, they file in, and that thing's gone. That was, and it turns out that it was very similar, if not exactly the same description as Carl. Oh gosh, Air Force guy. I blank on his name every single time. Wow. Carl. He called them the Tall Whites. Apparently, the brass at his Air Force base knew all about it. Range 4 Harry. Oh gosh, help me out, audience. Carl. Anyway, it'll come to me. But
yeah, it could have been Tall Whites, Nordics, all of that. It sounds like
not Nordics. No, these guys were a little bit different. Let me see if I can call up that picture of Tall Whites. Yeah. Charles Hall is his name. I remembered. So let me do that, and then I'll share our screen.
That's an amazing story. That's incredible. I love that happened to you. And I, especially. Oh, beautiful.
That's them. And it's pretty much like that too. But again, imagine them in humanoid clothing with big glasses on their faces to hide that structure of their eyes. But other than that, that's exactly what they look like.
This is amazing. I love that you showed that picture, by the way. I mean, it tells a thousand things. You know about the artist Vashta?
No.
Oh, we should open her website and show people some of her paintings of the extraterrestrials.
Sorry.
So she's not from this country, and you have to hire her, and she's really hard to get in because she's very, very, very popular and well known. But anyway, she's amazing, and I was aware of her. I have a friend who channels the reptilians among other beings, and he knew I really wanted a picture. And so he is friends with her. And he said to Vashta, "Hey, my buddy, Debbi Dachinger, I know it's impossible to get in, but the second you have openings, will you let us know?" And he's so amazing that he remembered like a year or two later. He's like, "Vashta has openings." So he brought me in to connect with her through text. And I said, "Yeah, I'd love to commission you to draw me, my extraterrestrial being." And so I just love this photo she made. I actually had it printed on a dress.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Can
Can you spell her name while I look her up?
Yes, please do. It's Vashta.
She's an artist.
She's an artist.
Okay.
And I don't remember. I think it's some Nordic country that she's from.
Is it Narada, the last name?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
That's her.
Wow, she does do very good work.
And when you look at her gallery, we should all look at it together. It's so
sure.
fun.
I'm in a more of a Google search kind of a thing right now, but I can certainly show what's there.
And I wish I had the picture right here so I could bring it up for you. It's in the other room, and I don't think you want me to run away to go pull up the picture. But she drew
that's us.
Hi,
everyone. Hold on, let me try that again. Okay.
That's what it's like in Inner Earth.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, that's so funny. It didn't come up. How come the tab didn't come up? Keep talking though.
I wonder if I can share.
You probably can.
Let me see if I could pull up Vashta, because it's really fun, and she's worth looking at. And I'm not selling her stuff or anything, but I think it's cool to look at these beings we're talking about. So, wow, there's a lot around her.
Vashta.
All right, Vashta. Here we go. Galactic art. I'm going to pull it up first, and then I'll bring us in.
Okay.
And really, it's amazing. But she basically channels. Now I find you. Come back to you. I'm going to go to share screen.
And choose your window. If you have a separate window. Oh, that's probably what I should have done. I should have opened up a separate window. Oh, well. Any luck?
Yeah. It's just going to take a minute.
Okay. No problem. To stay.
There we
Oh,
are.
that's us again.
It did the same weird thing.
Well, see if you can move your window selection to the Vashta thing.
Yeah, let's see.
There you go.
Does that work?
That works.
Okay, perfect. So this is this is her, and these are different beings.
Wow.
That she is drawn. Look at this one. Isn't that 33rd parallel and reptilian? And they
can you zoom? Can you pinchy zoom on that? On the window itself, or zoom in with your. I don't know if you're on a mouse or not.
I am, but it's not letting me. These seem to be very static.
Okay.
Now that's very different than we would have thought for a Lyran.
Which one?
Kai. This one is the Lyran.
Okay.
Let me see if I could do it here. If I can. Oh, I think it's zoomed. Yes.
Okay, it did. Okay, good.
Marek.
Right? Oh, that's a reptilian. I like it.
Yes.
That's very cool.
It's amazing she has names for them.
Now, is this what is she a channeling artist kind of a person, or
that is
she
exactly correct?
Okay.
So she channeled my energy. Look at that. Isn't that amazing?
George's hybrid daughters. Oh, wow.
Oops. That's very cool.
Third parallel reptilian. Okay, I guess they're not getting along.
Or they are. That's how they
are.
That's Mantis beings. That's super cool.
Yeah.
Love that one. Oh, this is
I have those guys in my book. It's pretty fun.
More Lyrans.
The Lyrans. See, the Lyrans look more like what I've seen described as Nordics. Is that the same thing?
Well, they don't fully look like Nordics, but they don't look like Lyrans I'm aware of, because those are my people.
Okay.
And she drew me as a Lyran, and I was very much, in the photos she did of me, I was very much a lion being.
Oh, gotcha.
Let's see. She had something here that said, personal connections, commissions. I don't know if this is just how she sells. And then, of course, I don't want to show everybody that, because that's, cool. Yeah, this is what I wanted to show.
Okay.
So these are actual beings she channeled. I hope she put mine here, because it's just stunning.
Wow.
And wow, this one's so pretty. Wow.
Very humanoid. That one's cool. I like that one. That's intriguing.
Amazing. And this looks Arcturian, but it looks so Asian, which they say that's why we have so many colors, sizes, eye colors, skin colors on this planet because we're
Yeah.
not from here. We're really representing all these different beings.
There's
Now, those are
a
tall
classic
Nordics.
Nordic right there. Okay.
Yes, that's gorgeous. Another
Arcturian.
Arcturian.
Now, interestingly, we talked about with Kat last time or the time before that, we talked about a creature that was called something monster.
Monster?
In like Kentucky or something like that, and it was an alien encounter that actually ended up in the Blue Book files, and that's kind of how they drew the creature. It had this spade-shaped collar, and it was at least 10 foot tall, maybe 12. Had big eyes that kind of glowed red, and was wearing something akin to a gown or a dress as its uniform. But its arms were bare, and the arms are kind of scraggly and skinny and stuff like that. It was
Amazing.
kind of so that one creature you showed before reminded me of that.
Look at this. I mean, this is beautiful.
Well done.
More Arcturians. So you see also, that's the other thing that is so important. They don't, like, everybody thinks, oh, tall whites look like this, Nordics look like that, reptilians look like this, Arcturians they don't. It's like here on Earth, there's so many different beings.
Variations on the theme kind of a deal.
Yes. And they all look so different. Wow. This one. Whoa.
Wow.
Love that.
Very Tarzan.
Very Tarzan meets Avatar.
Yeah, for sure.
Look at this. Whoa.
Oh, wow.
So you can see she's brilliant. And exactly like you say, she is a channel of the extraterrestrials. I think we've had, thank you, Vashta. I'm so happy I was able
for
to
sharing that too.
Share.
That. That's outstanding.
That was really fun. And so she drew me. And, you don't know. And I'm always pretty laid back about that stuff, however long it takes. But when I got it, wow. It's very moving.
I'll tell you what, we are a little past due for station identification. Not to cut you off. Do you want to go get the art piece and bring it on? Okay. So you're going to have like 2 minutes to do it. And folks, we will be back in a little over 2 minutes as soon as I find the button where all the stuff is. And we'll see you in just a little bit. This is the United Public Radio Network, 107.7 FM in New Orleans and 105.3 in the Gulf Coast. UPRN talkradio.com. Esoteric programming at its finest.
Long ago in the ancient world, the Tribus Omnis Lux, later known as the Tridents, were celebrated heroes, defenders of humanity against unspeakable monsters. Today, they continue that sacred duty in secret, hunting the dark evils that lurk just beyond the shadows. They are the Trident of Light.
And we'll be right back after this. Hi, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Tim Sudano, host of Paranormal Insight, a weekly video magazine that reaches 500,000 viewers and listeners every week on average, and the number is only growing. Connect your brand with our curious, dedicated audience who want authentic content and authentic brands. For further information on putting your brand on the show, contact me directly at paranormal.insight.podcast@gmail.com. That's paranormal.insight.podcast@gmail.com. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the show. Today we're going to talk about the strange and the unusual. Check out our Patreon. Get deeper behind-the-scenes insights. Also, tips into being a better paranormal investigator and other fascinating content. Follow us on Instagram at paranormal.insight. Stay informed on upcoming shows, see what paranormal trends we're following, and help us reach 50,000 followers by liking, following, and sharing. Don't forget to follow us on YouTube at paranormal_insight. Click the live tab to see our latest videos. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, with Debbi Dachinger? Or Dachinger?
Dachinger.
Dachinger. I almost had it. So we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us once again. Did you bring your art piece? Okay, let me make.
Can I get a drum roll?
Actually, you know what? I might have a drum roll for you. Hold on. Hold on, let me get it.
A Lyran drum roll, please.
Okay, well,
so there has to be some roaring in there.
I'll do my best. It's what's on the system.
Rawr.
Oh, that's so neat. Look at that. I'm going to ask everyone. Let's see. Let me get.
So this is me. And I asked Vashta because I was amazed. I was amazed at this. What does that mean? This. And let me try to put it here again. So you can see there's constant movement. So she said, you are a frequency changer and healer. Just by virtue of your being, you changed frequency. This is sacred technology and also here as well. But this is my lioness being. This is my my Lyran counterpart, who I am right now in some other planet, in some other dimension.
That's fantastic. I love that. That's outstanding.
I just learned something very interesting too that's blew my mind.
What's that?
So, yeah, I'm going to try to explain this. So I was interviewing Marilyn Gavicki, who channels Zazar. I mentioned Zazar earlier. I love her, and I'm a big fan of Zazar and his brilliance. Omnidimensional, he's many different beings, including the Elven. And so he knows my fascination with some of the inner earth things and the inner beings. And he was trying to explain to me who they are. But by virtue of explaining them to me, he also explained an aspect of me that is alive right now in the mountains, which was amazing. So I'm going to try to say it the way he said it.
Okay.
And he's, of course, so eloquent. I was at a costume party. It was this huge costume party, but we were told to come as your galactic self. So I got a lion outfit, one of those tight, onesies. And I had big whatever on my feet. And I painted my face. I didn't think I was going to do a good job, but it really looked very lion-esque. And I have pretty big hair anyway. And I took it and I teased all my hair. So it was this huge mane. And every one of us got to come out as our galactic counterpart. And we made this big, ta-da. And then the party started. Well, I did my big and I have to say, the whole night, something came over me being a lion. That it was so amazing to me to embody, whether I was dancing or talking or moving, but something changed in me. It was one of the most beautiful experiences, like, oh, this is what it feels like. I was really getting in touch with being a bipedal lion.
That's cool.
And Zazar was explaining to me and saying, Debbie, there's an aspect of you, a hybrid aspect of you that lives with the telos. And you may not understand what that means, that you are, But I think we all know there are many aspects of us, many lives. There's no linear past or present life. It's all happening at once.
Right.
Crazy quantum physics, but truth.
Yeah.
And so there is me also living in the mountains right now, and I'm a hybrid. And Zazar said, here's how we would explain it to you. Just like the night that you were Debbie, but you donned this lion's costume and you became it, but you were lion, but you were Debbie, you were a hybrid. That's how you are living in the mountains of Telos right now. And I was like,
That's crazy. That's
totally
awesome.
get it.
Yeah.
Totally understand how you're describing this. That's
Gotcha.
amazing. And we can all think about that. I'm not the only one, right? We all have hybrid aspects. God only knows what planets, what dimensions, all of it that are existing all at once. And it's amazing.
It really is a fascinating universe we live in, or multiverse, or however it is you want to look at it. But I briefly want to touch on something Herb said. He says, I'm kind of Arturian curious myself. I don't know what he's trying to say by that. I think
That's like bi-curious, but Arcturian curious.
Yeah. That I think they may have said hello to me at least once. That's intriguing. And then he goes on to say, I'm sorry, Carr then adds, as you were speaking about your experience at the party, yes, so that being would be a part of your galactic council. And I just kind of want to touch on that a little bit because it brings up the question, is that how we should think of it? Is this our own, are these various aspects living these different lives on this plane, or maybe off this plane, or just off this plane? Is this kind of our spiritual sort of council?
Tribe. I love that question. And I'm going to be honest, I don't know the answer.
And the interview's over. No, I'm kidding. I'm teasing you. So mean. Tim's so bad. I'm so sorry.
I know I have one. I've been told I have one. I've been told, these are the beings that are overseeing a lot of what's happening. And I can feel it. I can feel it a lot. I feel very safe. I feel very protected. I feel very guided. I'm amazed at my life right now. I really am. I'm very happy with my life.
Excellent.
And I'm happy to say that at a time when I know a lot of people can't say that, because I want other people, I want to pull them up to this state of what's possible. And so I don't know that everybody has that in particular galactically. I know we all have definitely those who look after us, like a dedicated team, angelically and other realm-wise, who are aware of us. I have a feeling it's different for everybody based on their soul's agreement and their soul's mission in this life. They may not need all that. They may just need a different team watching over them. But we all have teams. It's just the makeup of the team is quite different for everybody.
Herb adds this experience to where that he actually explains how they said hello, that he was staring at the stars one night on a little retreat from the world, and he said, I guess he put it out to the universe, as they say.
Yep.
Hey, space brothers out there, come and say hi. And a ship appeared and it went shoop.
That's what they do. And it's so beautiful. It's, how they used to say whenever, when we all started waking up to this stuff, and people would talk about angels and say, you're not going to just be helped. You have to ask for help, and then the angels will come help you.
Yeah.
And exactly, now you take it out to this concept. If you want to meet the extraterrestrials, all you need to do is ask. They say that over and over again, and they most often will present themselves, and they're aware of who we are in our hearts. I mean, that comes into consideration too, but I love that for him. I love that he had that experience, and that was,
me too.
A little wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
That was pretty good. Heidi has a question for us. Is there any correlations between sudden static electricity in an isolated area and ETs?
That's a very interesting question. So this one, I just have to go to I have to go to guidance for this one.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I'm getting a yes, no on this. So the no part is their technology is so advanced that there isn't generally a lot of interruption. Okay. That's interesting. That's actually more other dimensional
Okay.
that happens. So for instance, places like Skinwalker Ranch, I know.
Place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of crazy anomalies there, portals, curses on the land,
Good times.
other beings coming in and out. Yes. So that absolutely could happen there. With extraterrestrials, no, not so much. But other dimensionals and other types of beings or elementals, yes, it could.
Related to Heidi's overall experiences, she said early on, "Hey Tim, I saw the tall whites too once, but her tall whites were a little different than mine and Carl's. But in that they had inverted feet. They kind of walked like chickens.
Oh,
But other than that,
is,
they were almost identical. I was just wondering if you had any insight into that."
yeah, because much like we were saying earlier, all different species, they don't look like one thing. That's the first piece. And the other piece is if they were hybridized with
Okay.
another species, because as you know, there's so much of that going on right now. So it could have also been part tall white and part.
Avian? Do avians have the inverted feet? I mean, that seems like an older throwback, for lack of a better
Right,
term.
right. Yeah, that's very interesting. But no, I don't think so.
Okay.
But there's so many species out there, I can't even imagine, or why that would be important to them to mate in order to create something that served them better, how they walked, how they moved, something
Yeah.
that had to do with that. That is really interesting, but especially if more than one person has seen the same thing, that's a species within the species that definitely exists.
You're entirely welcome, Heidi. She said thank you in the chat.
Oh,
And it was curious to me because I didn't have an answer for her, so I'm glad you had an answer. That's good. But I'd never thought actually. You're opening my mind here. This is great. That to actually think as far as all the various iterations of a given species. You always think it's going to be like on Star Trek, and all the Vulcans look the same, while the Klingons look the same. They don't.
and there are
Yeah.
so many species. This is what they love is the experiments. I mean, you all know that our oceans are way deeper than science ever told us. They're so deep, we can't fathom. And they're so deep that there's a lot of off-planet species that have made our planet and their ocean, the real bottom of the ocean, their homes. And
Yeah.
there are places they go to. They don't like live in the ocean. They actually have their version of laboratories, if you will.
Okay.
But they do tons of hybridization in there and tons of experiments. And there are so many who are creating new species. We just know about things like the Sasani, who are part gray, part human, or the Yael, or the Playel, etc. But there are so many more and always being created and taking these more animal forms and human forms, or not human, extraterrestrial, but human-like forms and mating them together. And I don't know what they're after. I think that would be very interesting to find out why. Why would you put those two together?
Right.
But then again, we've done that here on Earth, right? In our rudimentary ways to try to create something new.
Well, yeah, dog breeding comes to mind,
That's
among
right.
other things.
Doodles, every kind of oodle that's out there,
Right,
cockapoo,
exactly.
all the take this dog, take that dog, and they're still doing it and coming up. Now there's long-haired Frenchies, dappled Frenchies. I mean, fascinating. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's just like that.
Well, this kind of leads into another question I have. on the internet, especially nowadays, especially with the advent of AI and more complex computer generated imagery, we have all these monsters, so to speak, creatures of lore, we'll say, from griffins to mermaids and everything in between showing up on our feed. And someone posited that no, oh, dragons. Dragons is another one. It's just huge right now. Someone posited that, oh, there's the possibility that this isn't AI, that, they're just not giving it, they're not keeping it a secret anymore. They're just done keeping that secret. Those in power, so to speak. Where do you stand on that?
Oh, that's really interesting. I like that. And I like even that people think that much, wonder that much or that curious. And I do think there's a great distinction. And the reason why I liked it is because it made me think, gosh, I wonder if the AI is facilitating. I actually think they're quite separate. The AI is the AI. And a lot of us can tell sometimes, like, really?
Oh, yeah.
But then there's the real. And
Yeah.
I also wonder, based on that question, if the AI is facilitating us to open our minds, our hearts, our awareness that these exist. So by virtue of AI drawing, animating, showing, which I think is beautiful, it's actually bleeding over into the truth of what exists. And I believe in all of that. I know I've been a dragon. I know I've had dragons in my lifetime. I have one that looks over me now. It's profound, my relationship with dragons. And I spoke in Glastonbury, UK last year. I'm going to speak there again in August. And anybody who knows the dragons and King Arthur and Guinevere and
Sure.
also Mary Magdalene, their energy, they've all been there. They've lived there. They've died there. And there are dragon ley lines there in
I've not heard
Avebury.
of dragon ley lines.
Oh, yeah. And
that's
they
crazy.
exist also under earth, because how safe would they be with us with
Right.
nuclear bombs and all the craziness we have going on in advanced technology? But they very much exist also other dimensionally and coming in and out.
That makes sense. Yeah.
That's the answer. I feel like those are quite different, but I do feel that AI is its own thing and reality is its own thing, whatever you want to call reality. But I would say that AI can be a great assist for us, especially right now. You and I, Tim, your people, your beautiful people here with us, and whoever's watching this in the future, we are open to all of this. We are knowing, we're awake, we're aware. Not everybody is, but this is a great opportunity for AI and other things to wake up people, much like what I went through when I was like, this stuff doesn't exist. And all of a sudden the truth comes in and I know the truth. And maybe people need to see stuff like this to wake up and go, whoa, I have some activation, some knowing, some memory happening. And then they go on their path. And the great thing about people waking up right now, it's not slow. It's like, 0 to 100. They just know what they know, and it's beautiful.
Yeah. Dragon ley lines. I'm still stuck on that. That's amazing to me. That's really cool. I'll have to look into that more. It was kind of off topic. Oh no, that was to Heidi. Never mind. But there's a.
She's here the whole time. We got to give her a shout out.
Yeah, big time. Heidi, we love you.
We do love you. This is for Heidi. Also,
Yeah.
Hillbilly Herb has been here.
Who?
Hillbilly Herb.
All of them.
Thank you.
And Carr and all those guys. Yeah. Yeah, thank you everyone for joining us today. It's fantastic. Let's see. I had another question and I must have glossed right over it.
Make it deep.
Somewhere we already did that. Oh, okay. The Telosians and Shasta. There were, and you said the Lemurians?
Lemurians, yeah.
Lumerians.
Lemurians.
L-E, okay, I misspelled it. My mistake.
Murians. So there was
Okay.
Atlantis and there was Lemuria.
Okay. Now, was Lemuria part of Atlantis, or was it a separate civilization?
Separate civilization.
Okay. And were they reptilian or something else?
Something else.
Okay. Can I ask what?
Yes, of course. So they were types of humans. They had a very crystalline society, and everything was run through crystals. And that's why today people can go to certain gemstone places, like really good ones, and get a Lemurian crystal. It's very powerful. I got one for my sister-in-law because she really resonates with Lemuria and has had past life memories of it. So I got her for a gift this beautiful Lemurian crystal, and she works with it because when you connect with it, you activate it and it starts to download crystalline information from that time, from your life into you. So yes, I mean, it was a beautiful society, high spiritual society, existed for a long time. And I think like these other societies that have come before us, I feel like they're a great gift to us, whether it is Atlantis or Lemuria or post-cataclysms on this earth. It's really showing us the time we're in right now, the crossroads we're at, and saying, you might want to get it together, because in Atlantis, they're saying, we messed up with AI, like really bad. We let technology run the world and ruin the world and destroy us. Might want to be in check about that. And Lemuria as well. And each of these civilizations where they disrespected the earth, disrespected each other, animals, plants, nature, all of it, which we are a part of, things didn't go so well. So I feel like it's a great gift and a great reminder. You don't have to have this happen. Not to mention what's happened galactically, right? With so many of these wars and so many of these destructions, which the benevolent beings who will not interfere really don't want that to happen to us. They do love us. They are aware of us. They do honor us for the depth of our emotions and other things. Love, resilience that we're able to do that. Many civilizations, they don't have the intensity of emotion we have. So
really, do you think it was just bred out of them over time that became too advanced? Because one would think that the more developed your mind and therefore body and therefore soul and spirit and all that fun stuff goes, the more richly you would experience emotions. I would think, but I guess that's not the case.
yeah, some of that is true. So with the Greys, that's absolutely true. They genetically re-engineered themselves over time to cut out emotions because they thought their best thinking was, well, if I do this and I don't have emotions, life would be so much easier. Let that be a lesson to you humans. But it's not what happened. Their society started to crumble because they couldn't produce children. How can you love a child that's been born when you have no emotions? How can you nurture them? How can you raise them? And that's just one of many things, but everything started going south. And so that's why the hybridization program and abduction started, because they realized we've got to bring emotions back into us. So they started to reverse engineer, if you will, their genetics to come back and become more whole with emotions. And with the other societies, the other advanced beings, it's to various degrees. The one thing they do is they love deeply. They do love deeply. It's just they don't have the big highs, the big lows. They don't have a lot of the anger. Like they don't understand. They witness it in us, the judgment, the separation, the persecution, all the terrible things we do to one another. But that's not them. They walk in total peace with planets, with trees. They talk to trees. They will go up and put a hand. I mean, I can tell you the Yael do this. They will put their hand on a tree and they will ask the tree, tell me your story. And they will listen to the tree's whole story telepathically. And then the tree will say, tell me your story. And they will tell the tree its story, and they become bonded. Or the Pleiadians, who often will wear these biosuits. The Pleiadians will take off their biosuits and they will walk on the planet naked to connect, to be at one with the planet. Oh my goodness, we need so much of that. Maybe not the naked bodies, but we definitely need.
We'll probably get there at
way,
one point or another where it just won't matter.
we need
But
way more connection like that, and
Yeah.
understanding. We are of the earth. If we understood the potency we stand on and walk on every day, if we took a moment to stand on grass and connect with her and let her wisdom and power flow through us, wow. And the same for the rivers and the animals and the plants and the trees and the sky and the mountains. It's so important to acknowledge the soul that they've been around forever, that exists in these. So all of that to say their emotions, now this is not the Greys, but their emotions, they do run deep, but not all over the place, if I can say it that way. Not so many colors as
Okay.
we have here. Way
Okay.
more simple, way more unconditional.
Oh, interesting. Okay. That's intriguing. Let's talk briefly about, and I'm sorry to be so visceral in my questioning, but the IL, for example. Do we know what they look like?
They're beautiful. Oh my God. If people think they have problems comparing themselves to other people, you know how like our society is set up with all these apps that change how you look and magazines that change how, and people have all this
Sure.
crisis about how they look or that they're aging or their body is dysmorphia, all this stuff like, oh, when you see the IL, they're freaking beautiful.
Are they humanoid?
Very much. They are
Okay.
part human, and they're gorgeous. They're wise. They're joyous. They are my friends. I don't know if I could say enough about them, but they're really aware of us and they cheer us on. Like, honestly, right now, Tim,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if their ship is above you and I right now, completely aware, completely grateful that they're being brought up, that we're having this level of conversation.
Oh, that's outstanding. Well, hello to our Yellian friends, if I'm saying that correctly.
We love you.
That'd be fantastic.
Mhm.
P.S. I want to ride in your ship. I've always wanted to see the speed of light. The whole Star Wars thing. Just a side note. Anyway, sorry, I'm being silly, but I'm not. Let's talk about the Pleiadians. Also humanoid, or are they different?
They look very, very, very different. There's a lot of planets in the Pleiades and a lot of different species.
Oh, when we say Pleiadians, we're talking about the cluster of all that. Is that correct?
Right.
Because there's 7 stars in that cluster from our perspective.
Correct.
So they've gone to plaid. Herb gets me. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So like on Maya, Maia, they will have more indigenous looking people. A lot of indigenous people come from there. A lot of shamans come from there. A lot of Mayans come from there. And so each of the different Pleiades, and sorry, because sometimes I start getting a lot of downloads. So I apologize if I'm going slow, but it's happening a lot right now.
Okay.
But I'm very tapped in to what you're saying and what's happening. But yes, they're beauty is in the eye of the beholder, I want to say, but they're, to me, very beautiful and very different sizes, different shapes, different colors, different purposes. But often the great healers, a lot of healers come from there. I've had a lifetime there.
Okay. So who else is in the Pleiadian circle, so to speak, cluster?
Besides who I named, what do you mean?
Well, I'm sorry. So if we have all these various cultures in the Pleiadian system cluster, so we have the Maya from, I guess, one world. Maybe they have a few planets under their care. well, who else is over there? Because don't the Nordics come from there too? Or am I thinking of something else?
I don't know about that. I
Okay.
don't know that the
I'm just
Nordics
curious.
come from there.
Just curious. Just curious. Okay. So, I'll have to look these guys up. Now, okay, going back to the artist whose name just suddenly,
Vashta.
thank you. Does she have examples of what these people look like, and are they accurate? Relatively.
We can look it up.
Okay.
Which ones are you interested
Well,
in?
let's talk about the Maya folk who look indigenous, for
Okay.
example.
Because
And
I
then
was
the
that
Gaia.
in a lifetime. And when I was told that that's who I was, I assumed, because I didn't understand all this stuff, I was, oh, this is quite beautiful. I'm going to pull a few up.
Okay.
I was told that I just saw myself living in a temple. I was the priestess. I knew my name. I introduced myself to me, blah, blah, blah. And then, and I'm going to share the screen right now.
Okay.
And then I was told I'm Mayan in this lifetime. And I didn't even know at the time that there was a planet, Maia, in the Pleiades. So that was rather mind-blowing to me. Okay, here we go. Share screen. And I'll show you one of these. Here we go.
I was just curious. Okay. Okay. Let's see.
But you could see here, Maia, a Pleiadian. Now, I want to say something that I was in this experience, in this incarnation,
Mm-hmm.
and you can see this, quite beautiful, magical. You can see this picture?
I see the larger display currently.
Oh,
Of
all right. It's giving me one tab at a time. I see what you're seeing.
Yeah.
Let me.
Oh, I think she hit the wrong button because suddenly she went away. Well, we have 10 minutes left. My next question to her was about star seeds, and that will probably take us to the end once we get her back. If she comes back, we'll find out in a minute. But yeah, she's been a fantastic guest so far. I hope, like, there she is.
Curious.
Welcome
Sorry
back.
about that. Just a test. But
That's
sorry
okay.
about that. That was my bad. I clicked on the wrong picture. But
That's okay.
let me try this way and just do a full entire screen instead, so
Sure.
it moves with me. And I'll just quickly show you a few of the images. When I saw myself,
That's
there
us.
it goes, all weird.
Okay. When you saw yourself, was it
Okay,
close to
great.
that?
I was over 7 feet tall and
Okay.
extremely skinny. I mean, not like we wouldn't be that looking like that. Now, says this is a Pleiadian star queen. I love this. And then here's another one, very different looking.
Wow.
But again, very shamanic, indigenous, very plant medicine, you would say.
Mm.
And so even with the Maia Mayans,
Yeah.
as opposed to our indigenous Mayan,
Perhaps they're
Mayan,
named after.
who came here to this planet, they also have different variations of how they look. But you
Okay.
can see in each of them the indigenous.
Yeah, the indigenous look. Okay, I was just curious to know where you're going with that. That's fantastic. Well, let me ask you briefly about star seeds and those who are here, who are hybrids. I've had an experience where that makes me think I might be one myself, at least on a spiritual level, or however you want to think of it. Because, and again, my audience knows the story. I was put into a trance-like state. I was allowed to remember everything, and I was asked the question, go back in time, previous lives, where are you from? And the first thing that popped out of my mouth, to my own surprise, I might add, oh, I'm not from this planet. Where are you from? And I said, well, you look at Orion, the star constellation. You go past that, there's a big gaseous arm to the galaxy. You go in there, and then you follow the arm a little bit, the curve of it, and then you poke out just before you get to the center, and then you keep trucking, and it's pretty much, it's like a weird pie slice, and that's where we are toward the end of the thing. And the society I saw and described was surprisingly, what I think inspired the Egyptians.
Did you say injections?
The Egyptians.
Oh. Okay.
Inspired all the injections. No, but I mean the way they had, and it was kind of like Coruscant, if you're aware of Star Wars, where I lived with my family. And if I were to look out the window, there were these holographic signs, and one of them was advertising sarcophaguses, like Egyptian sarcophaguses. And it's like, really? Yeah. And all the models who were showing off various things. It was kind of a quasi-industrial sector, the city that I said sector. I meant city that I was in, but all the women and the men had that curl that was drawn on to the eye, which was very interesting. And it wasn't unusual for men and women both use an eyeshadow of one color, usually goldish or yellow. And there was something about adding a different colored stripe to the lash too that indicated some status or another. It was really, really interesting.
That is very interesting. I mean, that's something I would really want to explore with someone who channels a high-level extraterrestrial, because a lot of questions inherent in that. I mean, wanting to know more about the culture and this harmony, if you will, between the Orion beings and the Egyptian beings, and did that actually create a lot of the beings who were in Egypt here on Earth, and what is the connection? And I love all of that.
That's intriguing stuff. I still have questions. I've always wanted to go back. And the interesting one, of the side note, this was with a team of all male psychics, which I found super rare. So I was impressed. It's like, really? Yeah. Okay. I expected at least one woman there, but no, there wasn't.
Well, to answer your question, Tim, so that does not constitute a hybrid. So a hybrid being, we'll make it specific, one who is walking amongst us now on Earth. They are really aware they're not human, that they're blending in. They're very aware. Like, it would be like looking at this. What the heck is this? And we'd be like, that's a computer. But how do you use it? What is this? That's a cell phone. There would be a lot of needing to learn. Our customs here to fit in. They would have abilities most humans would not have, superhuman a little bit, that they have to modulate and not use. But hybrids are aware that they're hybrids, and they are definitely here.
So that's not a starseed. What you describe is a starseed. What I experienced was more like a soul transfer kind of a deal.
Yes, and also because you're very awake now, and because you have longing to know more, which is almost all of us here right now.
Right.
I know I'm from other places. I feel what is this? What can I see? What can I experience? We're ready, for all of it. And galactic Akashic record readings, all the stuff to start, or to ask, come, or my family, come, or to have pictures drawn of us, come. That we are definitely starseeds. But the other thing that makes up a starseed is our mission, that we're very much here to be part of the awakening of the planet right now. And of course, that's what you're doing. A lot of ETs call your podcast, my podcast, first wave contact, how do people get to know this stuff? They tune into a show like yours and they're learning all this information. And so you're providing a platform for first wave contact before the, full disclosure occurs. So that's a big deal. You have a mission, you're fulfilling it. Yeah, and also personally, you feel the call to the stars, the call to your family and to knowing your roots more deeply. And that is definitely a star seed.
Ah, fantastic. That's cool. Well, we have run out of time. We're going to actually run a little bit over. Ladies and gentlemen, big round of virtual applause for Debbi. Thank you so much for joining us. What's happening? Oh, you're down. Okay, you're bowing. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you next time on Paranormal Insight. Debbi, hang out in the green room just for a little bit.
Yeah, and folks, join me on Instagram, my name, YouTube at my name, Debbi Dachinger, D-E-B-B-I with an no E, D-E-B-B-I, and the last name D-A-C-H-I-N-G-E-R. Love to connect with you. And
I have her website scrolling across the bottom.
Beautiful.
Just so you can get all that information. I'm sorry I didn't go there. I completely forgot about that part. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Debbi, thank you so much. Hang out for a little bit, and we'll see you all next time on Paranormal Insight. If you have a paranormal experience that you would like to discuss on the show, please email us at paranormal.insight.podcast@gmail.com. That's paranormal.insight.podcast@gmail.com.